Let me know if you want to try anything on.
I guess aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America.
Hey guys, welcome back to Movie Reviews. So before I get into this movie, let me ask you a question. What if the United States had a second civil war? Well, the answer to that is this movie that we're reviewing, Civil War, which is basically, what if the United States had a second civil war today? So starring in this movie created by the independent film studio A24, we have as Lee Miller, Kirsten Dunst. We have as Joel, being played by Wagner Moura. We have Kaylee Spaney as Jesse, who is the younger photojournalist. Also, pretty much, also a little disclaimer: pretty much all the main characters are basically photojournalists. Just a little thing. And as Sammy, we have Stephen Henderson, and as the president of the United States in this film, who is a third-term president, which, for those of you that don't know, you're not allowed to do that anymore, we have Nick Offerman. So yeah, basically, this is what if Ron Swanson became president, I suppose. Anyway, so basically this movie, it starts off with the United States in the middle of Civil War, where we have multiple factions. There are two main factions that are really in this movie. You have the U.S. states that are loyal to the main U.S., which are, which for the most part are the Northeast and the northern Western states. And we have the Western Forces, which comprises of Texas and California. I don't know in what universe Texas and California would ever agree on anything, let alone to leave the United States, but in this alternate universe, somehow that happens. I don't know how. But anyway, so we start off in New York, where there are many protests due to food, because, well, so much supplies is going to the war effort. And we have Lee Miller, played by Kirsten Dunst. She is hearing on the radio and just on the TV that at least Nick Offerman, the president, he is talking about how the loyalist states, they're finally going to be dealing with the Western forces and the Florida Alliance, which basically the Florida Alliance is basically all the southern states besides Texas joining with Florida to create their own faction. And basically, the president, he's confident that the war will be over very soon, that they will crush the seceding states. And while this is happening, Lee, she sees a suicide bomber attack and blow up in a crowd of people that's right near her, and also that's right near Kaylee Spaney's character Jesse, who views Lee as a very much of a hero, because Jesse, she's an aspiring photojournalist, and Lee is a very experienced photojournalist when it comes to war, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, what basically her Lee and Joel and also Sammy, they are making an effort to try to get to Washington, D.C. because they see it and that the Western forces are just the seceding forces, they're soon going to reach D.C. and kill the president. So they want to try to make it to D.C. to get an interview with the president because, well, soon that's not going to be possible. And they want to be the only ones that have this great privilege. So they set off to do it, but Jessie, she joins due to the fact that she convinced Joel to let her go with them. So the four of them all pile in a big car, and they make their way towards D.C. Now, normally this would be about a 6-hour trip from New York to D.C., but, well, here in the war-torn United States, this is not a 6-hour journey. It's going to be like a few days journey because they can't go straight shut down due to fighting. So they're having to, and they're also So they're going to have to go around DC, through Pennsylvania, through West Virginia and Virginia into North Carolina, and then head up north to where the Western forces are going to be. So they make their way through, and they see all just the carnage and the United States just in ruins. I mean, as they stop for gas, there are a bunch of guys being tortured due to the fact that they were trying to loot. Which, it's not Fortnite. You can't do that in the real world. And they also just see fighting off in the distance, and they get up very close to some of the fighting, where they see some of the Western forces actually killing some of the U.S. military. And as well, they stumble upon a refugee camp, and they even come across an entire town where it's as if the war isn't even happening. The town just protects itself so well that the war it doesn't exist. And as well, it's very interesting that they can't use the US dollar for currency. They have to use Canadian money. Never would have thought that would have happened. But anyway, and through this journey, Jesse, she really starts to bond well with Lee, to the point where Lee begins to help Jesse with her photos, so that they come out really well. And then eventually they get to a point where they end up getting into a very sketchy situation where they meet Jesse Plemons' character, who is actually unnamed. Basically, he is a truly ultra nationalist who likes to kill people.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
Has just taken this opportunity with the war to just pretty much kill everyone that he comes across. He nearly kills our crew, but they are saved by Sammy, who in the process gets shot himself. And when they make it to the Western Forces area where they're gathering, which is in Charlottesville, North Carolina, he dies. And our 3 remaining photojournalists, they go hitch a ride with the Western Forces as they descend upon DC to truly take their final stand and kill the president. And in the process, our characters, they take great pictures of just DC being completely raided by the Western forces.
With liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
And just as they make it to the gates of the White House, they see the White House limousine charge out, and Western forces, they open fire on it, and it stops, but the president, he is not in there, so everyone goes into the White House trying to look for the president. In the process, Jesse, she's standing in the line of fire as the Western forces are fighting with the Secret Service. And as this happens, Lee, she steps in the way, and she takes the bullet for Jesse, and Lee dies, saving Jesse's life. And finally, the Western forces, Joel and Jesse, they make their way into the Oval Office, where Nick Offerman's president. He is standing there, and Joel, he tries to get some last words from the president. As the president, he begs Joel to try to convince the Western forces to let him live. This fails, and well, the movie ends with the president being killed and Jesse and Joel taking pictures. And that's the end of the movie. All in all, I gotta say, this movie, it is really good. Like, seriously, it's a really good war movie. It really gets down the point of how war is terrible. Not just for the people in it, but just for people around it. Like, the U.S. as we know it in this world is just in complete shambles. I mean, it looks terrible. Like, it's crazy. And as well, one thing I like that they did with this movie is that the bullets, or at least shooting, every single time a gun was fired, the noise was so loud compared to other movies where the bullet noises is reduced quite a bit. Whereas here, you can hear it. Like, it really feels realistic. And it's really cool. In terms of the acting and the characters, they really did well. Like, Kirsten Dunst really portrays well this character that's seen war, she's been through so much, and she just doesn't understand how this young girl finds her hero, despite everything that she's seen. And yeah, like, I gotta say, like, the characters really did well. I mean, especially Jesse Plemons. He plays this character of just this total asshole so well. Like, he really does. Like that scene with him in it, it is downright terrifying. You seriously think all the characters are gonna be dead. But, they don't die. So, yeah, all in all, I would highly recommend this movie. You know, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And if you have seen it, go check it out again. Maybe see if you notice something else. I honestly would give this movie a solid A. You know, go check it out and enjoy it. It's also fairly ironic that this movie is coming out now in 2024 in the United States, since we are in the middle of just absolute chaos here. I mean, we're going to be on the verge of quite a big, important presidential election where, at least according to everyone, democracy is on the ballot. When realistically, it's kind of crazy to say that, at least the way the U.S. is kind of run now, it's not so much of a democracy anymore. Or it hasn't been for quite a while when you consider that, well, the same people that have been there for decades are still in power. And they really don't seem too interested in helping ourselves, in helping the people that they represent. I mean, just look at this past week where, you know, billions of dollars went to Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan.
On this vote, the yeas are 311 and the nays are 112. The bill is passed. Oh, one voting present. I missed it, but thank you. Okay.
Nothing for here when we have $34 trillion in debt, wide open border.
And capturing a boat racing towards the shore.
It was like, and the lifeguards are sitting right there, so I thought it was a planned, staged event.
The man who didn't want us to show his face or his name says he saw the migrants jump out of the boat once it got to shore.
And I counted 22 people jumping out. It looked like a military exercise.
And run up some nearby stairs.
One car, one SUV, and then like 10 got in it, but they left the rest behind, and they just started walking toward, Carlsbad.
People in the United States kind of calling for the death of America and just all sorts of chaos in the United States.
Stop killing children! Stop killing children! Stop killing children! Egypt, Syria, wages war! We're gonna defend ourselves! We will forever defend ourselves! What about the hostages? We will not be hostages! We don't want to give back the hostages!
You know, and despite the fact that they say that democracy is on the ballot and that if Trump or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. get into office, it's going to be kind of the death of America and democracy. And I gotta say, what democracy? Do they mean the lie of democracy that they try to put their oligarchy as?
You live in a psycho bunker where 9/11 was an inside job and the government are all Nazis.
The government are all Nazis!
I don't know. But all in all, I think this movie is just kind of like a true representation of how far just division can really go in a country, or at least in the United States. You know, it kind of came out of the perfect time, considering, well, at least here in the US, and honestly, like, probably all across the world, like many countries, there are growing populist movements. I mean, here in the US, we have MAGA. Whether you support it or not, I'm just saying, like, you gotta say, MAGA is a populist movement. People are really saying that we have had enough of just the lies and the corruption and just and the fact that our elected officials don't do anything for us. They do everything for themselves out of fear of what may happen to them. I don't know. And at some point, it has to give. And whether it be through politics or just at some point, well, we the people, unfortunately, may have to repeat this movie and just kind of have to say to our politicians, yeah, hopefully things don't ever come to that, but it's a possibility that may have to happen. Anyway, enough talking about this. Let's get into the next movie that we will be reviewing. I'll give you a hint. Instead of just the United States falling apart, we're just going to see the entire human race fall apart. Here's the movie.
Apes hunt humans. That is wrong.
Together,
You will die. No. Together. Strong.
So yeah, next movie is the continuation of the Planet of the Apes trilogy. I should say the franchise at this point. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm very excited to see what this movie is going to be like, considering, well, the whole trilogy is really good. And, tell me what you think of Civil War and just everything going on in the world right now, or at least the US. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
It's over.
And justice for Hulk. God bless America.